welcome to Oyo Decides. Oyo State Independent Electoral Commission has announced April 27th as the date for the Oyo State local government elections. But it seems everywhere is quiet, as they say in politics, as there is no indication whatsoever that the people are getting ready for April 27th. Voter apathy, political players apathy, etc. Joining me in the studio to look at the issue of apathy towards the upcoming Oyo State local government election is Dikin S. Olalere.
It's a pleasure being here.
Thanks for your joining us on the program.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
You have been involved in politics for over 50 years, since the 70s. So I want to reckon that you're familiar with the process.
That's true.
But in the last 1.5 decades or thereabouts, there has been a progressive decline of interest in local government elections. Why do you think that is so?
Well, when you look back, a decade back, or more than that too, you discover that there had been a pattern, winning pattern or losing pattern, whenever the local government elections come to place. So people too, both political parties and the electorate, they are also studying the pattern. Haven't seen the pattern that whichever government is in power wins all election at the local government level. So people are no more interested. Unfortunately, that would have been the grassroots place where people should have played politics. But because of the hard-heartedness of the people in government or party in government in each of the states, I'm not leaving any state out. You see, the governors, because since the advent of the State Electoral Commission, this apathy has been building up, and that's what we're experiencing now. Because the tendency is that the government that puts somebody there as the chairman of the State Electoral Commission controls him and make him do whatever he wants. And the tendency cut across the 36 states.
Wow.
When you look at all elections, you discover that the government in power, that's the party in power in that state, wins all. Not even a councillorship seat is won. And when you look at it, councillor...
Is it not possible for the government in power at the state level to win all the state local government championships?
Not, because no matter what you want to say, these other political parties too, they might not be on ground everywhere. But when you talk of councillorship, it's just one word. All right? You might have not more than 36 polling units. And then if somebody comes out and is popular and is of another party, the people will be ready to vote for such a person, given its antecedent within
the community.
So you cannot tell me that it's only the ruling party that has such people all over the wards.
The local government
units in the local
Well, I'm happy you said it's nationwide.
No, it's nationwide.
It's not peculiar to your state alone.
Wherever you have PDP in power, PDP wants to win. If you have ABGA in power in that state, he wants to win all. Then if you have APC or whatever party in control of the state as governor, he also wants to win all the chairmanship.
Is this the only reason why we're witnessing this general apathy towards the Oyo State local government election?
Well, it's part of it, because people will look at it, even if we go out to vote, our party, talking about our party, already these people, it's like they're going to write the result. They will win all. They've always been winning all. So why will I waste my 6 hours to go and queue for a result that will not really favor who I want?
But the chairman has announced that about 19 political parties will be participating in this election.
Yes. You see, the only reason you get registered is to participate in elections. So at times it does not even make sense to say you are boycotting. Because for participating, people will also know that you exist. You know? And then if you don't ever participate, even if you know they're going to write the result, if you don't participate, people might not even know. They go there, those who will vote. Even if their vote is not going to count, they look at the ballot papers. How many political parties are there? Oh, maybe if there are only 6, so it means these are the only existing political parties. So
it's a good thing that you mentioned that point,
right.
Because before we sat down to talk now, the impression I had was, okay, if all the political parties knew that the government in power their party would win all the chairmanship seats, why are they still participating? But now you just opened my eyes to see that it's their own way of having a portfolio of activities for the 4 years,
They are also
so as to
participating.
justify the
being
license
registered.
that they have
Yes.
with INEC.
Right.
This is not good for democracy,
It is not.
because democracy all over the world where you see democracy succeeding, it's because it's much more better practice at the grassroots than even at the national level.
Yes.
So how can we combat this tide? How can we
Well,
stem it?
Like I said, the conduct of local government elections should not be left with the State Electoral Commission. And that's why we're advocating that the State Electoral Commission should be scrapped. Let INEC conduct all elections in the country. All right? In advanced countries, they don't have this local government, I mean the State Electoral Commission and the rest. All right? And if you look back, the elections we've conducted, there was an election in 2003 or so, conducted by INEC.
Okay.
In Oyo State, I would take you back to Oyo State. That was when we have series of parties being chairman, winning chairmanship.
So there was a multi-party representation
Then,
at the third
because
tier.
At the third tier, like for instance, the late governor of Oyo State, that's Akala. When he was local government chairman, he won on the platform of AMPP.
I
At the
remember.
state level, it was AD governor that we had then. Babala was the governor. All right? And we also have others like that in other local government in Oyo State that won, that they did not belong to AD.
So from your record, that's the last time we witnessed that.
That was the last time. Since then, when the constitution was permissive, it was amended, and then the state government can now set up an OSEC for your state OSEC, a commission that can conduct local government election. That has been the practice.
So you are saying unequivocally
Yes.
that the independence in the state independent electoral commissions it does not exist.
No, it
That they're not independent at all.
is not.
That's why some of you are advocating that the tenet should be amended,
Right.
that INEC should conduct
Conduct
election.
all elections.
But you and I know that it's only the National Assembly that is empowered
Oh, that's
to do that.
That's true.
And the political arithmetic that some of us tend to observe is that the governors control the people in the National Assembly. So would the Governors Forum permit that kind of...
Well, ironically, it's because they see the docility of the electorate and the people. All right? Election is not meant for governors alone. All right? They might supervise or be in charge when it's being conducted. But election is meant for the electorate. The
True.
people, yeah, and then for them to choose who they want to govern them.
represent them?
So if the electorate is not gullible, when we start advocating, and then we come together that, well, we look back, we saw that, well, when INEC was conducting, this is what, but it's beyond that, it's beyond the election, all right? It goes beyond the election. Control of the fund is another thing that people are not looking at.
Really?
Yes.
Tell us
that's-
about it.
All right. Unfortunately, at the state level, all right, the local government has
The third tier of
body that
government.
is not independent, and that's one thing we are advocating for, and that's why the governors are hell bent that there should be no independent.
When you
local-
say they're not independent, isn't it said that there are 3 tiers of government and the local government is the third tier?
Unfortunately, in the constitution, what
Yes.
it just says is that there shall be 774
Four.
local governments.
Yeah.
The independence of that local government is not stated. That's why you discover that the state government will tell you that it's controlling, it can control the local government. Local government is not on the first charge. When
They're
they
not
do-
on first line
not
charge.
on the first line charge.
As we speak.
As we speak, when they do the allocation, how many times have you heard that the local government chairman or the director of finance in local government goes to
Well,
FAC
we have to
meeting.
pick up their check.
It doesn't go to, it's the finance commissioner at the state
In the state level.
Yeah, that goes. And then
Okay, so what
the
you're saying now,
accountant general.
yes,
So
what you're
whatever-
saying now is that the 1999 constitution
Right.
left that lacuna.
Yes, and that's why we're
It was
asking-
silent on
It was silent.
the independence of local
Of the
government.
local government.
And the state governors just moved
No,
in
they're moving.
to
And
fill
then
that gap.
Yeah, fill the gap. And unfortunately too, the constitution also give an opening whereby they can have this joint, what they call joint account, being run by the state government.
So the constitution also leaves
Yeah,
that.
leave that gap. Because since they are not
I see.
independent,
So it's not illegal in a way, in a sense.
well, in a sense,
Yes.
it's not illegal.
They
in
have
a
not
sense
they have not
because-
flouted the constitution.
But unfortunately, and that's why people are saying, if we call it third tier, let's make it third tier.
Mhm.
In such a way that make an amendment to the constitution whereby the local government shall be independent.
Okay.
It's like what we are doing now. We're just advocating, and we've got that, the independence of the judiciary,
Yes.
whereby they can control their
Funds and
funds
all
and
that
all.
things.
Independence of the state house of assembly. All right. If we are saying that we have in the government in governance,
Mhm, the
we have
three
the
arms.
executive, the three arms. All right. Before now, the three arms is being controlled by the executive.
Executive.
Now people are advocating, and some have won.
So the
Independence of the
legislative,
legislature,
that's
the
chairing of
judiciary,
judiciary.
and the executive.
Mm.
Now they've gotten that. The tier, three tiers too. That's what people are advocating. But like you said, a lot of influences go into it.
Mm.
The National Assembly has to get the thing done. Then, if the amendment was done at the National Assembly, it has to go through the 36.
To domesticate
Yeah,
it.
to domestic. Apart from domestic, to even approve that it should be done before it is passed to law. All right.
At least
So
two-thirds,
if
I
we
mean.
don't have 20 20 states agreeing to it, it cannot be passed.
When you
Even
say
if
20 states, are you
I mean,
saying
I'm
state
saying-
houses of assembly
State houses of assembly, that's
who
what
are
I'm saying.
invariably controlled by the governors
By
most of the time too,
unfortunately,
anyway?
they are controlled by the
Most of the time.
most of the time are controlled by the state government, and then the state governors know that once they pass that, they're in trouble. All right, with regards to whatever manipulation they get to do with the funds of the local government, so they will insist that well, this state.
Now, you just open our eyes to a perspective that many people are not thinking about.
Yeah.
Before today, what I always thought of was that the governors in power at the various states want to ensure that their party men win the election at the local government for political and electoral gains.
No, that's not it.
But now you are making us to understand
more
that
of finance.
it's actually because of the allocation of the local government.
Yes, yes. You see, if you
Don't
sum
they?
up,
Okay.
if you sum up the allocation that goes to the local government, for instance, in our own state or your state, if you sum up what goes to the 33 local government, all right, usually per month it's higher than what goes to the state. When you
Really?
sum it up, yes. So it's chunk money.
Wow.
So
So,
the-
the aggregation of all the monies
Right.
coming to the third tier
Yes.
is even more than what is
All-
coming to
yes,
the
most of
the
time
state
it is
government.
more than what goes to the
So
state
if you give the local government independence, you are taking a chunk of the revenue.
out of the
of
hands
their
the-
income.
Yeah, out of the hands of the state, and any state governor. That's the truth. We not want that to happen.
It will not. It won't release it without
So
a fight.
because they feel that that's when they are able to pay salary, they are able to do this and that, and then also satisfy their wants.
Yeah.
It is because the money comes in chunk.
Mm.
So, and then when you now project forward, you want to put somebody there or make sure somebody wins that election who will be amenable to what you want.
Mm.
For instance, if like Abga wins a local government in Oyo State, it will be difficult for the governor to tell me that what
Certainly.
something is happening to my money and they're going to deduct. But if it's the same people and you got there as chairman, courtesy the governor, hardly will you look at his face and say, no, governor, this is my local government. Governor will tell you that it is my own state and I put you there. They won't, it's difficult for them. What? We have an example in Ogun State.
Yes,
One who
a
wants to
recent
be-
example.
Yeah, example, who wants to be decent. And for sane people, when you look at the argument the man is putting forward, you know that it's right. But unfortunately,
And he seemed to have even the support of the community.
he does have the support of the community, but the
governors,
overriding tendency of the governors. All right, the man is now put on trial.
Yes, he's fighting for his political
His
life and personal
survival,
freedom.
Yeah, so that's the unfortunate thing about it. And they will let him know that what you think you won election by yourself, we'll put you there with
I'm happy you have said that it's not only happening in your state, but
No,
nationwide.
it's not. It's not. Well,
So, which means the solution is in the hands of the governors forum.
Well, the government,
Politically speaking.
yeah, politically speaking,
Legally
but
speaking, is in the hands of the National Assembly and the State Assembly.
Yeah, but in truth, if the
Governor.
electorate
Okay.
are not docile, it will be in the. If we know that they are bringing this independence of the local government to the State Assembly, which will be a public thing, and we know that it's coming. If all of us stand up and go there and say, "This is what we want," all right, at least
Where do we go to say that?
when they want to debate, we have a right. But do we even exercise those rights? Do we?
Could it be that people are tired of talking without being
No.
listening
Have
to?
we even been talking?
I think people have been talking.
No. It's like people like you and I that will talk. But the real people, if we really let them know, like we are doing now, educate them that they have some right and they can. And then even the local government people to know that, well, this thing, like what happened in Ogun State, for instance, if all other communities will stand up to and say,
With their local government
with
chairman.
their local government chairman, that, well, we are also being this man is saying the right thing, we are being cheated and all that. Before you know it, because either the governor wants to come back second term, or he wants to have some influence after he leaves government, he will want to listen. But if we don't bother and we say,
What do you think is responsible for this? Is it ignorance, or is it that people are just carefree or lackadaisical, or they have a masochistic tendency to want to suffer?
no, we're not.
Because obviously the community is being shortchanged.
The thing is that they will always believe that even if we talk, what will happen? Nothing will happen. But talk and see if something will happen or not. We have seen changes because people rise and then say this is our right and we want it. But when you now deficit attitude, you have that, well, even if we do it, what will happen? They
So
forgot
people have given up.
Yeah, they now gave up that. Well, we will not. But have they tried? We've seen places where people rose up and then because policies have been changed even at the federal level.
Yes.
Because people made some noise and
Yes.
said, no, this cannot happen. Even with this government, the current government,
Yes.
we've seen times when
He had to reverse
the
himself or
yeah,
modify
yeah, or
himself.
modify, and that's the right. That's the right we have. So if we are exercising that right, and I used to say something, and that is showing the docility of the people. You know, recently we've been shouting after the subsidy removal.
Okay.
A lot of shout that goes to the federal government, to Tinubu, to Abuja, and all that. Subsidy removal, the effect was that it enhanced the allocation that went to the state. You know,
It brought it up.
yes. Has anybody?
And also to the local government, I must
Yeah,
add.
it's the same. That's what I'm saying. Has anybody stood up to ask the governor, rather than asking the Abuja man? We are suffering. We are suffering. The Abuja man cannot. All the money, the subsidy removal and whatever, what accrued from the subsidy, does not go to the federal government alone, not to the president alone.
It goes to the
Yeah, and-
REMFAC.
Yeah, and then at the fact when it is distributed, it goes to the state.
And there's a template they must use.
Yeah, they must use.
can't
And
go
the
outside.
governors will tell you, don't even reserve anything for future. It is
Yes.
our money. Give us our money.
Yes.
The money is being given to. There is, quote me anywhere, there is no state government that has not gotten more than 3 billion, is it 3 billion I would say, extra after the subsidy removal. Are we asking question, what happened to that? They were paying
Could
salaries
it be that the
before
public is not sufficiently educated?
that. Well, is it that we are not educated or we don't even care to know?
We don't
Because,
even
yeah,
care to know.
Because you must also find out. If you want to be educated, you search, get information. But a lot of people just, let me just survive. And once I'm able to survive, whatever happens to any other person does not bother me.
That's the attitude.
the attitude of the government.
And that's why we're collectively suffering.
Yeah, we are suffering collectively. Why will you not ask the governor? You have gotten extra 3 billion. What is this 3 billion being used for? But we are saying we are hungry. All right.
And we're looking towards Abuja every time.
Every
In
time.
fact, towards one man,
Yeah.
Tinubu.
Unfortunately, that man cannot harness that money to his own tier of government.
No,
You
he
know?
can't.
Yeah,
The law doesn't permit
it
him.
doesn't permit him. So as soon as it accrued, all the subsidy removal, when the money accrued, they bring it to the center. Then, according to the rules, it is shared. Then every government, the state government, gets enhanced. The same thing with the local government. Enhanced the money. What has happened to it?
Because why I feel pained
Yes.
at this revelation you're giving us is all over the world, federal governments are failing. All over the world. Of course, the degree is more in some parts of the world than others, but federal government, the central government is being alleged of one infraction or the other all over the world. And what the move in the last 10, 15 years has been towards community taking ownership of their destiny, as it were. Well, here what we have is only the center that everybody's focused on. Everybody has neglected the community, which is the word.
And that is the bane of our problem. And that's why I threw it back at the community.
What's the bane of our problem?
No, like you are saying, the attitude of the people. So if you know what your rights are and you fight for it, all right. For instance, if we want the local government to function, the fear they always say is that well, the local government, once you give them the allocation, what they do is that they just squander. But if the community knows that it is our money,
Yeah.
all right, they will be on the neck of the chairman and his councillors. Well, this money had come in. All right, what are you doing? Let's see the program.
Yes.
All right, after you remove your salary.
And there's proximity, physical
Yeah,
proximity,
physical proximity,
to
they
the
can-
councillor
yeah.
and the
But
chairman's
what you
office.
find out is that at the party level, somebody will say, okay, I've just given birth, I will have naming ceremony. Chairman, me, all right, come and finance the naming ceremony of my child. And once he gets that, it's not bothered that he doesn't even have, people will even come, might not even have access road to get to that place.
Event.
Doesn't, if really people are enlightened and they know, like you have just said, in Rwanda, the community development is the first thing. Once you are everybody has his job doing, and then the enabling environment is given, you will be enhanced. Your own finance too, through your job, will be enhanced. You will prefer a situation where you will ask the local government, do our road, all right, rural electrification, let us get lights for our job and all that, rather than you just going as a person, give me money to buy a motorcycle for myself or something. You know?
From your analysis now, it seems as if even those who emerge into local government chairmanship positions, from the analysis you have painted for us, do not feel they owe the electorate or the community. They feel beholden to their principal who nominated them.
Who nominated them.
And they feel that if they're going to get re-elected,
They have to do the
they have to do the bidding of the
boss.
man who nominated them
Yes.
to that position,
Yes.
rather than the electorate.
Yes.
So which still brings us back to breaking that cycle.
Yes, whereas the electorate, if we are well enlightened, we know that even the man who claims to be the boss and putting people there, we can also let him know that he's there because we put him there. And if he knows that, he will also not arrogate to himself that, well, I'm the one who will choose. For instance, we are having local government. If the governor says, this is my candidate and nobody should talk, and everybody say, okay, if that's your candidate, nobody is going to talk, we are not going to allow any rigging of the election. We are going to vote and follow our
For
vote
another party.
for another party, and we'll stand by that. So you discover that, like he's saying now, if we want to take, if other political parties want to also take charge, we've done it. And I will give that example, what we did in Oyo State when one was very active in all this electioneering. You know, make sure, definitely that day there will be polling.
Yes.
People will come and vote. Collect the result. Make your people, enlighten your people, come and vote for my
Candidate.
APGA man, come and vote for my APC man, my candidate and no. Then have agents who will collect the
result
results
sheet.
at the polling unit. Let them go back to OSEC office and write something else. That unit result is the basic. All right? And that's why we have the tribunal that has been set up now. If you go to the tribunal with the unit result that is authentic,
Signed by all the party
every-
agents.
and the OSEC, somebody there,
Electoral officers.
electoral officers, there's no way the court will turn it down.
Yeah, this seems like an easy
No.
thing to see.
Yeah.
So why are parties not doing it?
Those are the apathy I talked about, and then the idea that it will be written. Let me give you an example. When Nate Akala was the governor, here he conducted the local government election. Well, we knew, my party then, we knew that, well, we cannot be everywhere. We don't have that muscle, that strength. But we also knew that there are some local government and some wards that we have done our workings and we know that we can win election there.
Okay.
So we concentrated there. You don't have to win all election if you even want to be popular. You want to
So that you don't spread the resources too thin.
Yeah, so all the resources we had, we concentrated. It was Akinyele here. So we concentrated in Akinyele then. Just three words. And we knew that we were strong, the people liked us, and we were going to win election. So all we did was we had agents, and we collected all the results. All right? After the election on that Saturday, we went back to our office, collated. So we knew the result.
Yes.
When they were announced the result at OSEC, they said they did not announce our candidate, but they won.
The other party won.
No, we won.
Okay.
In those three words.
But they didn't announce you
No,
as winner.
they did not announce us as winners.
Who was announced as winner?
The party in power. But we
Okay.
took it up.
All right.
All right? Because, like I said, we had all the results. We collated on Saturday. So first thing on Monday, I had access to the governor, and I went to the governor to show him. Well, before we were going to go to litigation, but before we go, let me show you that we have evidence that we won. The funniest thing then was that Baba Ishola was still alive. APGA won in his ward, his own ward, you know.
You even defeated him.
Yeah, we defeated him in his ward. So, and not two other words.
So what did Governor Akala do when you presented him with
When
that?
we presented the thing, Akala called. I was still sitting in his office when he called the OSEC chairman. Don't put me in trouble. All right. These people won. How did you, whether it was
Just
standing or whatever, I don't care, but he knew that the evidence was there. And he knew if we went to the tribunal, there's no way. They cannot overturn that thing. So eventually that thing was...
So they reversed their earlier
reversed it
decision.
immediately. But it was because we were articulate. We knew what we wanted.
Yes.
So we planned from the beginning. So
And
there
you
was-
presented cold evidence.
Definitely.
So why are political parties not doing
Well,
this anymore? Is it due to lack of resources? I can understand if some smaller parties are not able to mobilize
you know, if
agents
you- yeah,
and
like-
sufficient representation in all of the polling. I think there are 170 something thousand and 176 polling units or
Yes,
so
yes.
in Oyo State.
1,000.
That shouldn't be how many?
170 something thousand units.
Units.
Because each ward will have about 30.
Okay.
And then
So
in
there are
each
33
local government will have the highest is 10, minimum of 10.
So we are
10,
looking at about thousands of polling units.
Units, yes. But what we are saying in essence is that
Yes.
definitely you might not have the muscle, the strength to be able to be everywhere.
Yeah.
But wherever you think you are strong, why don't you concentrate?
But
on
can we
the
say
resources?
APC would not have the strength to be everywhere, to collate, to have...
They just left government, and they still have some people in the federal houses and state houses.
And they have people
They
everywhere.
should, but because of the attitude, and like that, then when you look at Nigeria,
Could it be they've accepted defeat even before the contest began?
Because when there is no leadership, strong leadership, that does happen. Who will take the bull by the horn? So if you have a strong leadership, who you think, well, this man, like what I was not in the Akinyele story I just told.
Yes.
No, it's not as if I was in Akinyele, but they knew. We knew what to do, and we placed our people. And they were honest in doing their job. They brought the result. Everybody collected result and we collated. So if you have articulate leadership too at times, and the boys were so happy that they know that the leader they have will fight that cause.
And they will not compromise?
No, they won't compromise.
Or sell out?
So we were able to. So if you look at, that's the fear. If you look at the APC situation in Oyo State, coming back home, Oyo State today, because of the past election and what had happened, it's like the party itself is not as strong as it should be, despite the fact that they just left office before this government came in, you know, but there has been dissipation.
Because one would expect that they would provide the needed leadership
They
to other
should.
opposition
That's
parties.
what they should.
But that doesn't seem to be happening.
No, it's not happening. They are not even in the leadership of bringing the political parties together, all right, to be able to really give a fight.
You were once chairman of the Conference of Nigerian Political Parties.
Yes, that's true.
Does that association still exist?
It still exists.
Is it still functional?
It's functional, I would say. But you know, you cannot dabble into the affairs of they are independent.
Of the other political parties.
You know, it's only that party that's agreed to work with you, succumb to you, then you can now talk to them, teach them what to do also. But if a party decides to distance itself, there's nothing you can't.
If a party removes itself from the umbrella,
there's nothing,
because like an umbrella body.
Yes, like an umbrella body. There's nothing you can do.
So is that what is happening now?
As at now, yes.
Most
of the parties will not even, because their strength, even as a party, cannot really be said to be strong enough. So you might not even be able to
could there be some level of compromise somewhere?
No, the compromise comes in when the leadership is not strong enough and they just feel that, well, once we are not going to win an election, why don't we just align, all right, with the power, the party in power, maybe some little percentages of offices.
The half-bread is better than
Yeah,
nothing.
than
That sort
nothing.
of thinking.
Whereas what should be our thinking should be the general good, all right. If these people are annexing everything to themselves, we should be able to enlighten the people, let them know that it belongs to all of us, and we should fight for it. We don't have to all belong to their party.
Or keep mute and keep quiet.
Keep mute and say, once I'm compromised, anything can happen.
Well,
anybody.
some of the people listening to us right now as we're talking would be saying to themselves, what else do these people want, these opposition parties? The OISEC chairman has announced to the public that they've made representation to INEC to release beavers, which could also bring some level of transparency into the process. You are someone who is a believer in beavers.
Yes, I do.
I know that from your antecedent. And if OISEC chairman is saying, we have made representation to INEC to release beavers machines to us so that we can use for the election, that should give you some level of comfort.
I know he has already said that he has not had, they made representation, he has not had anything from
INEC.
That's not enough. If you make representation, you follow. It's not
Okay.
you just don't write letter. All right, you follow. You need this thing, and this is why you need it, and they know that electoral act that we have and the constitution give the states the right. What you can, does the state have the list of electorate? What do we call it?
The voters register.
Do they have it? They don't have.
Yes, it's at the center.
It's at the center. If they can have that, what the beavers is doing is the same thing as what the voter register will do. The only time they might not be willing to release to you is if there is still litigation
Okay.
for a past election. And that thing, they don't want to compromise it because it has to be reformatted. All right, so they can
As
say
an
no,
evidence.
Well, as evidence, so we cannot.
But we don't have any such
Here we
right
don't
now.
have. So that's why I said, unfortunately.
Now, OISEC has said it's going to use the voters register that was used last year,
Yes.
last year March. So my question is, if INEC was willing to release the voters register,
Why would they not
why would they not want to release the BVAS?
So that's the unfortunate thing with the other political parties. If, like we were saying, if APC has taken the lead on the other group, or this is government, or the party in government, the other party not in government, if APC with the strength, the little strength they have taken the lead, they know what to do. The OISEC man cannot just come and address us and say, I've written, and they did not reply me, so we can't use BVAS. All right, but
did you try to make some findings, like some personal finding, in your capacity as someone who's been in this field for more than 5 decades, about this non-release of BVAS machine?
No, as far as I'm concerned, like I said, we have local government elections in other states where BVAS were released.
Really?
Yes. All right. So to say,
which other states were this?
I told you, just recently we had election in Bayelsa State. Recently, just last week or 2 weeks ago. All right, though, like as usual, they won all.
But BVAS was used.
Yeah, it was used. Though some people also protested that maybe even the other opposition that BVAS that was used might be compromised.
Okay.
But it was the release is what we are talking about.
That's what we're talking about
They have
here.
a right to have it. It was released.
Because I was thinking,
And
okay.
Bayelsa State, for instance, though I think their litigation is over.
Yes.
But they had a recent election.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And yet, BVAS machine were released for that local government election. So what I'm
Which
trying
other
to say,
states?
no, others that we have not had any other one.
Okay,
Now,
but
others
in
are
Bayelsa,
different. But
BVAS machines were released.
yes. Like I can talk of where we are preparing in ABGA is in government in Anambra.
Yes.
They are preparing for local government election now. They don't have any hitch that they will not release,
BVAS machines.
but they are following up. We had this notification more than 2 years. Or 1.5 years that we're going to have election, so they follow the process. So immediately you know you're going to have election, that's when you will be following up with INEC. All right, but if you know, probably there might have been compromise. I don't know. It's possible with other political parties, because the first thing I knew, there's this conglomerate of political parties called IPAC.
Okay.
All right, which is a baby of INEC itself. And a baby of whichever party is in government at the center.
Okay.
Right, that's how IPAC came to be. But it's a conglomerate. They, unlike CNPP, they cannot agitate.
Oh.
But they can. They will call them whenever there's an election.
And they have some clout anyway.
No, they're supposed to, especially with INEC. Because what IPAC should have done, initially when they were meeting with OISEC, when he gave his notice, was that, well, if there's no BVAS, there won't be election. But along the line, I don't know what happened because I was not part of that movement. Since I'm not the chairman of my state, I'm not in IPAC as such, so I won't know.
You don't know about the inner working.
No workings. But along the line, we didn't know when. There was no agitation about the use of BVAS anymore. When the OISEC man was going to apply for BVAS from INEC, he supposed to carry the political parties along. All right? Say, okay, then maybe if you write and they're not writing, you take the political parties along that, so that you will verify that, well, we applied for these reasons. INEC said they cannot release, but the only reason they cannot release is if there are litigations. But nobody is doing that.
But I'm just thinking, because I believe there are more than one ways. I believe that more than one road leads to the market.
Right, sure.
So if OISEC has written to INEC and is not getting a positive response, is it allowed for political parties to write to INEC and request that OISEC's request should be honored?
What the
That
political
will be,
party
they will be interested in it.
What political party could do, or should do, or should have been doing, is to be on the neck of the OISEC. It is the political parties cannot request for BVAS. It is for them to say, okay, this election, if there's no BVAS,
Okay.
Right? We won't allow this election to hold.
Okay.
And if there will not be beavers, let us know the reasons why INEC is not releasing beavers.
They could do that.
They could do that. And the OISEC, if it wants to absorb himself, okay, we'll have executive of IPAC, which is comprising of all the political parties. We can go to INEC. We'll sponsor you to INEC. You hear from the horses.
That's what I mean. Have a direct interaction.
Yeah, they have the right to do that. But these people here, the OISEC is the one who has the right to request and collect.
Formally.
So, formally. And if it's telling you the right to be on the snake, then let's go to that INEC and let them tell us why we cannot use beavers. Belongs to the country and everybody, and we have a right to it. If there's any litigation on ground,
there's no litigation as far as
and
I
we
can
know,
know.
as far as Oyo State is concerned, there's nothing like that. Nobody even went to tribunal.
Because I was thinking that perhaps if other political parties are serious about winning, or are serious about...
like I've said previously, who's serious about winning, that apathy, that one, they will write it. And maybe one day, by the grace of God, if we also get there, we also will do what they are doing.
So this complicity is because of expected profitability from such a process.
It will be difficult for, I'm sorry to say, but it's the truth, it will be difficult for the APC people, all right, to want to really lead the fight. Because when they had their own election too,
they won all the local governments. Maybe about 2 or 3 words were relinquished to the...
not even...
all the words?
All the words, they took it over.
Wow.
It was 100%.
So
So, see, that's the truth. So that's why when they want to... These people, as at that period, this PDP in government now boycotted the election of APC.
Yeah, I remember.
And then left everything. And they won everything. All right. Eventually, now too. So what?
Because APC is threatening to boycott as well.
No.
That if beavers is not used, they will boycott
that was
the election.
initially. Now maybe pressure from the people who wants to be known that they even contested. If they did not even, they don't mind. But that should not be. What they should do is to stand their ground. But along the line, people, because like I said, leadership gap also has created problem for APC. No doubt about that.
There's another issue that I would want us to touch on before we wrap things up on this in this session. In politics, besides the party structure, the party machinery, the party resources being put behind a candidate, we also have occasions where some big wigs will queue behind a candidate, maybe with their political resources or financial resources or social resources or otherwise. We don't seem to have much of that happening during local government elections.
And those who are even supporting candidates at other elections, all right, it's in the view that when he gets there, he's going to pay back, kind of, one way or the other, either through contract or sharing of certain things that comes to him. But when they look at the local government, they would ask you what goes to local government. Why will I waste my resources? They say probably it's my son, I want him to make name.
So I'll build him up politically.
Politically build him up. If not, I just want to take somebody to mentor, and nothing, even he himself to collect his salary might even be a problem. So why will I push my resources?
Because most times the governors will have cornered the resources.
Definitely the resources. And then even for the chairman himself, the chairman does not have that exclusive right to award contract beyond some limit, maybe 500,000 local government. What's 500,000 to somebody who wants to sponsor somebody with about millions?
So that's why we're not having enough
so
big
people
players.
People don't take interest
and that tends to leave the field open to the exploitation of the sitting governors, as you have said.
That's the truth, you know. So nobody.
But the electorate and the community is being shortchanged. How do we break this cycle?
No, that's what I'm saying. That they have to be enlightened. The question is who will enlighten them. People also who wants to be enlightened should seek for it. Right? If it were before, like I said, the previous period, the Lamadation.
Before recent years.
Now everywhere will be bubbling. You will see posters. How many posters do you see now? None. because people are not.
Most people don't even know that
they don't
election
even
is
know there was
around the
going to be-
corner.
Yeah, just 27th we'll be having this election, but because of the way the government, the political party in power and everywhere have just harnessed and taken it over.
In every state of the federation.
Every state of the federation, you know, every state of the, there's no state of the federation
So-
where the ruling party will not have all the chairmen.
Even if you have a governor that wants to do otherwise, the pressure from party members.
No, it's mostly the party, not even the party member. Mostly is the governor himself.
Okay.
Because we are talking about the finances here.
The allocation of the local
allocation,
government.
yeah. Does the ordinary party man knows what allocation is or what comes to the state government? They don't know. It's unlike before when party will tell the governor or the premier then what to do, because they have power, they have power. Unlike now, the man in charge is the governor, who again goes down. So it's what he has that he gives to the party. Unlike then, when the party will be the one supervising him.
True.
So, given that,
Well, if I will summarize, and please correct me if I'm wrong, some of the ways by which we can break this cycle
right,
are, one, to give the local government full autonomy. They should be on first line charge,
yes,
with
that's-
regards to the allocation.
yes.
Secondly, would be for us to amend the constitution
Yes. Let the NEC
to ensure that INEC,
conducts
local
all
government
elections in Nigeria.
and then thirdly, increased voter education.
Yes.
And of course, as an auxiliary to that, to have a more willing voter populace who wants to learn, who wants to be educated, because you can't clap with one
No, you
hand.
can't. It's-
So if the public educators like the media and what have you are pushing education out, and the people whom the education is meant for are not interested in it,
no, then
they're interested more in entertainment, in
entertainment.
comedy, in skits and what have you, then it will be like pouring water inside basket,
yeah, sure.
and it cannot hold.
Nobody will learn anything. They are not interested.
We're still on Oyo Decides, and we've been in the studio here having a session with Deacon Samuel Olalere, who is a member of the Board of Trustees of one of the national parties, APGA. He's also been a secretary of the Unity Party of Nigeria way back in the 70s.
70s, yeah.
Youth secretary. As an undergraduate, you were a secretary of the UPN in all the northern parts of Nigeria. You know, I mean, that's some 45 years ago. It's no mean feat. And he's been there in the trenches, president, chairman, Conference of Nigerian Political Parties, a former governorship aspirant in Oyo State, among many other political accolades and brilliance on your resume. Thank you very much for coming on the program today.